Some people are born leaders. They can grab the attention of everyone around them. They can move the hearts of people to do great things together. They can make big decisions. They are wise. People like Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Martin Luther King Jr. You know who that is?
No,
Napoleon. Are those kinds of people, great leaders. And they changed the history ever after. But what I want to say, I am not that kind of person. I'm not a great leader. You might not believe it, but I'm a very super shy person. Yes. I just can't stand before anybody else. Let me tell you a story. When I was 4th grade, I was made a candidate for the president of my classroom. And they call it 반장 in Korea, right? I hated the idea, but my teacher just made me do it. Before the vote, all the candidates had to give a little speech. And some came up, they told a funny story, made everybody laugh. Some others, they even promised to bring a vending machine to the school, like other great things. But when it was my turn,
You didn't know what to do.
I totally blacked out. I seriously don't remember what I did and what I said up there. Still, I don't remember what I did. But what I do remember is my hands were like sweaty. My hands were sweaty because I was so nervous. And I was stuttering a lot. And as you can imagine, it went horrible. It went horrible. I was so embarrassed. I couldn't lift my head up after that. But the most humiliating part is the results. When the votes came in, out of 35 classmates, guess how many votes I got? I got 1. The worst part was that was my own vote. That became just like a trauma for me for a while. Wow. Being a leader isn't easy, especially if it's a bigger group. We are starting on the book of Joshua today. And as we look on the first chapter of Joshua, we find out that it isn't going so great with Joshua. Let me tell you why. So God sent Moses to bring the people of Israel from Egypt. And he did a lot of miracles over there. He brought the swarms of frogs, turned water into blood, lice and flies. He even made the water gush out of a rock. But when they finally came into the promised land, they grumbled against God. Because this land was not free. It was already inhabited by a powerful nation, Canaanites. So they grumbled against God and Moses, and they said, "Hey, did you bring us all the way back here through the wilderness, through the sea, to be killed by the Gentiles? You should have just let us be as a slave in Egypt. You'd be happy there." So what God did is that God let them wander in this area for 40 years until every single man who walked out of Egypt died. After 40 years, they resumed their journey and they went back to the promised land. And finally, they were right at the promised land. 40 years has gone. And it was it. The time was it. The time they were waiting for. We can finally go in and have the rest. A place we can call home, country. But in that crucial moment, what happened? Moses, who guided them all the way through here, he died over here. Moses. The people were heartbroken and they were confused and lost. They were like, "Oh my God, who will lead us now? Who can stand up to Moses?" And that's the very moment that God calls Joshua to be the leader of the people. And this is what God said to Joshua. My servant is dead. Therefore, the time has come for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the land I'm giving them. While leading the Israelites, you know how many people were there? There were at least 600,000 Israelites. And that's only counting men. And this is not going to be just a stroll in a park. They were facing the Canaanites. There were 45 cities there. There were army. There were kings. It was not free. They had to fight off the Canaanites to earn the land for themselves. It's going to be a huge bloody war. And Joshua, it was all up to him to lead his people. Wow, this is going to be a huge job for Joshua. Knowing this, God said this. This is the passage we read. Be strong and courageous, for you are the one who will lead these people. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the instructions Moses gave you. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged. You know how many times God said, be strong and courageous?
Wait.
3 times. 3 times. Be strong and courageous. Be strong and very courageous. And be strong and courageous. Why do you think he kept on saying, Joshua, be strong and courageous 3 times?
Because he kept forgetting?
Because he was not strong and courageous. Yes. He must have been super nervous and worried. Wouldn't you be the same? I would be the same. I'll freak out and run away. God, I can do that. Like leading 1 million people and fighting off the Canaanites. I can never do that. How could you be strong and courageous in that moment? But we also face scary moments in our life. Like moving into a new area, going to a new school, or moving up to high school, or even sleeping by yourself in your room. I know Dasom has a really hard time right now trying to sleep by herself.
Wait, she's sleeping by herself?
Yes.
Wow.
How can we be strong and courageous in those moments? Joshua could be strong and courageous because of just one thing. He knew God was with him. Because God promised him this. I promise you what I promised Moses. I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. He figured that if God is for him, who can be against him? If God is for him, then who can stand against him? No one. So he could be strong and courageous because God has his back. Same goes for us too. Sometimes we face scary moments, but we can be strong and courageous because God is with us too. God is with us. He will lead us through anything and everything. But it is easy to forget that, right? That He's with us and feel nervous and scared and worried. So we need to constantly remind ourselves that God is with us. Yes. But how do we do that? And here's the answer. God told us the answer. Study this book. Study this book of instructions continually. Meditate on it day and night. So you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then you will prosper and succeed in all you do. What is this book of instruction that he's talking about? The Bible that you have in your hands. Study your Bible continually. Don't stop. Meditate on the Bible every day. And then you will prosper and succeed. Don't just bring it on Sundays. Don't just have it for show. Dust it off and bring it on Sunday. It's there for you to read it. And to remind yourself that yes, God is with me. God is with me when I go into a new area, move into a new area, meet new people, or go into high school, or go into college, or when you get married, or when you have kids. Scary moments will come, but through all, you can always remind yourself, God is with you. So you can be strong and courageous. Joshua was courageous. Joshua was strong to fight off the Canaanites and lead the people only because he knew God was with him. Let me pray.